the teaching situation for the class is dealing with those who cannot speak English in my current context, my current community, who are looking and seeking for jobs, seeking to be a part of the community. But one thing that's hindering them is their inability to be able to speak English language. So really my goal through the course, through the 6 weeks course here, is to help equip them to be able to speak languages. Sort of the end goal would be for them to be able to get a job. Now that may not be practical for some of them, but the goal is for them to be equipped enough to at least be able to speak English well enough in order to get a job at a local place, in order for them to really to be a part of the community in a more efficient way than they are now. The cool thing about that is in that teaching situation, I have the unique opportunity to share the gospel with them through even an ESL course being taught in a local church. And so I think that's fantastic. So that's the teaching situation. This class period currently right now, we're going to work on the reading skills. And so we're thinking about reading skills. This sort of is going to come after looking at a good bit of vocabulary. So we're going to, you've already been through quite a bit of vocabulary. Now we're jumping into actually applying that vocabulary through reading. And one of the books that I've chosen for us to sort of look at and read is Leo Leone's 1, 2, 3 here. And so each student sort of has a copy of this book. And so here's the thing is that there's going to be some words in this book that the student or that you will not be able to read just yet. And then to be honest, they're just vocabulary words that do not necessarily matter to us at this moment in time, and they will not help you much in trying to be within the community. They're great vocabulary words to learn, but they're not ones specifically for us that are important for us to really understand and learn. And so with that said, the main point of reading this book, and why I think it is a great tool for us to sort of study, look through, is to help us practice numbers in English language. I know you know how to count in the Spanish language in Espanol, but in English, the numbers are different, or at least the words for them are, obviously. And so what I want us to do is focus through this book and really work on counting things in English. When we think of the word uno for those who speak Espanol for you guys, or one for us, that's what this book's really going to help you do, is to be able to count in English. And we're thinking of how that correlates over to the workforce. It's super important, especially if you're working in any sort of restaurant or anything to that nature. You need to be able to count at least to a basic number, whether it be 10 or 15 or 20 or whatever, in order to help facilitate and do your job well. So for example, if you're working in a restaurant and somebody says, hey, I need 2 hamburgers. Well, if you don't know what the number 2 means, or hamburgers, which hopefully you know a little bit more about that now that as we walk through vocabulary and things, but if you don't know what the word 2 means, you don't know quite how many hamburgers they're asking you to have. And so it's important for you to know that dos means 2. And I know that most of you know that, but this is going to help reinforce our idea here of how to count in English. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to spend a lot of time sort of walking through this book. And so what I want you guys to do first is I want you, as I said, you have this sort of on your desk there. And what I want you to do is sort of look through the book and see how many you can count in English. Again, we're not going to worry necessarily about specific things. So for example, if you look at sort of the 2 here, 2 or dos, you see chameleons. It says cuando, or how many chameleons. Well, I'm not worried about you knowing the word chameleons here, because I don't think that you're going to actively use this in the workforce. You may, and that's great, and then you'll learn that in that context, but chameleons is not as important for me. What is important is how many. Okay, so that's important for us to know, as well as, again, the number 2. And so what I want you to do is just take probably 5 or 10 minutes here and sort of work through or walk through the number here and see how many of these numbers you actually do know. And then in a few minutes, we'll come back together and we will sort of walk through these different numbers to make sure we fully understand exactly what the numbers are and how we use those. Well, hopefully you spent much time walking through the book. I heard many of you sort of counting and doing good things here, and some of you even trying to learn sort of what you were counting, and that's fantastic, and I'm excited to hear that, excited to hear you sort of continuing to encounter and working on these topic. So as you still have that book in front of you, what I want to do now is sort of help us clarify exactly what these words are. And so what I want to do is ask you this question first before we sort of dive into this. Exactly how many words did you know? So, or numbers, I should say, did you know? So walking through this, and hopefully as you saw, the numbers do not go high at all. It's a smaller children's book, and that's designed on purpose for you guys because I don't want you to attempt to count to 30 right now. If we can get to 5, then we'll continue to sort of walk through the numbers, and it'll help you sort of continue to understand how better to count. But how many numbers did you guys know in total for this book? And so you're counting, and so I hear a couple of people say, well, we knew all of them. There was one who said that we knew just a couple, and that's fine. A kind of a side question, and a question that doesn't necessarily pertain just to the numbers, but how many of the words did you actually be able to figure out? And I could hear some of you say that you could understand a good bit of them. Some said, well, we can understand only a few. That's perfectly fine. Again, I'm not necessarily worried necessarily about the words, more about the numbers that you were understanding and hearing in this time. And so what I want to do is I actually want to walk through the book for a few minutes with you. So I want to almost read it, but not just read it. We're going to talk about the numbers and maybe how we can better understand them as those who are speaking Spanish trying to learn English. So again, you see at the beginning sort of the author's name there, and then you see 1, 2, 3, right? So we see uno, dos, tres, or 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's look at the first page here. And we're going to focus on the first number, which is 1, right? 1 in English. Uno in Spanish, 1 in English. And so what the English sentence here says is how many chicks. So how many chicks. And then if you flip up the flap, right, it says 1 chick. 1 chick, right? So uno chick equates to 1 chick. 1 chick. You see there's 1 there. If you flip the page here, it says how many chameleons. How many chameleons. And as you can count here, there are what? 2 chameleons, right? 2 chameleons. So you had 1 chick and you had 2 chameleons. So uno, dos, 1, 2 chameleons. If you flip the page here, how many fish? Fish. Cuando pescado. And see, this is probably an important word. That's the cool thing about this book, is that some of these words aren't necessarily going to be explicitly important in a job type environment, but fish, especially working in a restaurant environment, would be very important for you to sort of understand and learn, thinking about how many fish are there, or pescado, or how to make a pescado or a sandwich de pescado, how to make a fish sandwich. So we're looking at fish. How many? Cuando fish is 3, right? So there's 3 fish here. So you have uno, dos, tres, 1, 2, 3. 3 fish. Look at the next page here. How many mice? Mice. Hopefully mice will not be something that you're having to deal with all that often. They're really not that fun to deal with. So how many mice? And the answer is 4, right? There's 4 mice. 4 mice. So you have uno, dos, tres, cuatro. So cuatro is 4 in English. Cuatro is 4 in English. And then finally, how many friends? Cuando is amigos. Amigos. How many friends? And the answer is 5, right? So we have uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. So cinco equates to 5. There are 5 friends. 5 friends. So that's walking through the book here. And so what I want us to do is sort of say this a couple of times. Okay, so let's walk through it together. So we have, let's walk through in Spanish first. So we have uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. Right? That's just the first 5 numbers. And we'll try to work on the other numbers here soon. But just for right now, that's the first 5 numbers. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. So those 5 numbers. Now, if we're looking at English, what are those numbers in English? So if I say uno, what is the English equivalent? One, right? So uno is one. If I say dos, what is the English equivalent? It's two, right? Two. If I say tres, what is the English equivalent? What is it equal in? Three, right? Three. If I say cuatro, what is it equal? Four. And then if I say cinco, what is it equal? Five, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, I think that's vitally important for you to know those words in English in order to help you continue to be able to use them in your job context. It'll be very important for you to be able to do that in that context. And so what I want us to do now is I want you to take a few moments to sort of walk through the vocabulary words. And so you're going to continue to use the book. What I want you to do is I want you to pair up, I want you to partner up and continue to sort of walk through these numbers and words. I want you to almost read the book a couple of times, okay? I know it's not a long book. It's not going to take you long at all to read it. And try to figure out the words. Maybe you can figure out the words in English. I just read it to you: chicks, chameleons, family, friends, and then fish. I mean, those are the 5 other words that are in there. Maybe you can sort of help walk through those with each other. So spend just the next few minutes partnering up and walking through how to better count to the number 5 in English by reading Leo Leone's 1, 2, and 3. So what I want us to do now is to continue working on these vocabulary words. But what I want us to do is to take, there's 10 of you in this class, and what we want to do is take the next 2 seconds for you to individually come up to me and read the book. Now, we've already worked on you sort of understanding the English language, right? We talked about uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So that's English, Spanish. We're sort of working on that as well. Also, you should have been memorized these words. You say them enough times, they should sort of stick within your mind. And again, so what I want us to do is sort of each student's going to come up to the desk and sort of tell the book, read the book to me. Don't be worried. I'm not too worried about how you say fish, mice, friends, family, those type of things. I'm more worried about, can you count to 5? Can you speak these in English? Because I think that's very important, again, for us in our job context. And so what I want you to do is, again, to take the book and to come up to the desk and continue to read this to me. And after we're done with that, we'll do one more thing, and then we will be sort of dismissed for the day. Our students continuing to come up and read to me as we're getting to the towards the end of our class time here. You all are doing fantastic being able to count to 5. I'm telling you, it will greatly help you, I think, in your job context. It will also help you learn the other numbers. So again, you're working towards 5 there. Most of you have been doing great. What I want you to do now is we're going to just really practice reciting and memorizing it in order to help you understand. And so instead of me giving you a worksheet, what I want you to do is take a blank sheet of paper that you have with you and write 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 over and over. Honestly, I want you to do about 20 times, okay? So 20 times on that sheet of paper, and this will also be homework. You can start now towards the end of class, but I want you to do is continue to write the numbers, and you can do this by yourself. You can do this also with partners, so they can continue to help you reinforce the numbers and the understanding of the numbers there. But again, just continue to sort of work through this. So take a blank sheet of paper, and you're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then eventually you'll be able to learn 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And so just continue to work on that, continue to move through that. Write that on that sheet of paper, and then we will continue to learn. I'll continue to have, I think there's only a few of you left who have to come up to the desk in order to continue to read the book. But again, once the class period ends, just in a few minutes, go ahead and write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. And then once the class period ends, I want you to take it home with you, and tomorrow, or next week, bring it back have 20 of them written down.